Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. Today we are comparing two Barbie Basics dolls, one from 2009 and one from this year, 2025. So this was a classic collector Barbie line designed by Bill Greening, a classic Barbie designer. And this year they decided to reboot the line, relaunch the line with a whole new selection of dolls. I thought it would make a fun video if we compare the two different interpretations of this classic Barbie line. They definitely both have some pros and some cons. Anyway, if you love dolls as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new here, check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and also consider supporting me on Patreon. I have loads and loads of exclusive videos on my Patreon, loads of collection videos as well, so if you want to see my entire collection, then definitely check out my Patreon. Supporting me starts from just $3, and I'd really appreciate the financial support. I mean, these are both really, really beautiful dolls. Obviously, the Barbie brand is in a very different place to where it was in 2009. You know, it's really evolved. Some parts of the line have evolved in good ways, some in bad ways. You know, the quality isn't where it used to be. And I think, you know, the first thing you can see is that the box isn't really as nice. This box looks kind of cheap. It isn't as, like, interestingly designed as well. This box, I think, looks a lot more kind of, like, glamorous, a lot more high-end, a lot more, like, luxurious. Obviously, it does use a lot more plastic. I think Mattel probably made a conscious effort to use less plastic in the packaging. But I think the way they have the Barbie Basics logo down the side here is very cool. It says Barbie Collector Black Label down here. I don't think Barbie doesn't really, like, separate their collector line out anymore. There used to be like Black Label and Pink Label. Black Label was like the lower end of the Barbie collector line. This one's called Barbie Signature. I wonder if they separate them out in a different way now. But anyway, let's go back to talking about this doll. I think she's really beautifully posed in there as well. This whole thing kind of looks like the cover of like a glossy 2009 magazine, if you know what I mean. And then on the back here, first of all, you can see all the other dolls that were available, and there are a lot of different options. I think there definitely could have been more diversity in the skin tones, but there's still, you know, a lot of different variations, a lot of different hairstyles. There is not a lot of diversity in body types. That's something that Mattel would introduce a little bit later on in the line in around 2016. Bill Greening has used some really iconic Barbie face molds in this line, which again, I think really shows his understanding of Barbie collectors. Like, we've got the Steffi face mold, we've got the Teresa face mold, we've got the Midge face mold. Like, he's really used all of the iconic Barbie face molds, which again, he really understands the collectors. There's not really any variety in the hair textures, but again, that was something that they kind of started to introduce into the Barbie line a little bit later on. It says up here, customize, personalize, play. This doll also says that, customize, personalize, and play. Now, I watched an interview with Bill Greening. He said that he was thinking about collectors that still wanted to play with their dolls and dress them up and try out different fashions on them.
One of the more recent projects was the Barbie Basics line, and that really came from a need in the Barbie collector community of adults kind of rediscovering that fun play with Barbie and looking for a collectible doll to do that with. And the response has been amazing to the Barbie Basics line, and I'm really excited that the collectors felt like we listened to them and we designed a line specifically for them that had a lot of variety and beauty and also a lot of fun to play with.
That's why I think this line is called Basics, because the idea is it's going back to that old formula for the Barbie line in which you buy a basic doll in a simple outfit and then you buy add-ons and fashion packs and then you can dress up the doll. It's like an adult version of playing with Barbie dolls, because most collector Barbie dolls are just there to be looked at. You know, they're meant to be kept in the box, they're meant to be kept in their outfit. This Barbie Basics line was all about giving adults and, you know, collectors an opportunity to play with their Barbie dolls. And I think that's really cool. I have to say, I really like the dresses in this line as well. They're all just simple black dresses, but I really like them. I much prefer them to these dresses. I just don't think these dresses are as cool, personally. But there are still some cool looks in here. And it's a real shame that the new version of the Barbie Basics line doesn't come with fashion packs. I think that would have been really cool. The new Barbie Basics line has these 5 basic dolls, which are kind of similar to these ones. But then they also made 3 different sets which came with customizable dolls. Like dolls where you can swap their heads. And these dolls also have the swappable head mechanism. And those sets came with different outfits as well. You can swap the outfits and stuff. So that's where the kind of customizable, personalizable? That is not a word. Personalize element comes into this new interpretation of the line, is that you can swap their heads and, you know, buy these bigger sets. But the customizable sets have these hideous swappable wigs. Ugh. Mattel, give up on the wigs. The wigs are awful. They look like helmets with hair. I absolutely hate them. I feel like a lot of the collectors really hate them as well. They look so bad. Like, Mattel, get rid of the wigs. Get rid of the wigs. I also think, as I said before, that the outfits just aren't as cool and high quality and stylish as the outfits and the fashion packs for the original Barbie Basics line. Adult collectors, in my experience, really enjoy small details and quality fabrics and stuff like that. The original Barbie Basics line had a lot of small, intricate details in the fashion packs. Whereas the new Barbie Basics line, there aren't a lot of small details. Not in the big customizable sets and not really in the, you know, the basic dolls. Which, again, Mattel, if you're trying to appeal to adult collectors, you need to listen to them, and they definitely like small details. But anyway, having a closer look at her box, there's this little window into the box here. You can see the Barbie Basics logo, which is pretty much exactly the same as it was before. I just don't think this box is as cool. She's model number 2. There's an image of her on this side, and then on the back you can see 4 of the dolls, and then the other one is here. I don't know why she gets exiled to the side of the box and the others get to be here, but anyway, it's quite funny. And written on the back here it says, every Barbie should have the wardrobe essentials. Barbie Basics makes its comeback with the little black dress, a chic closet classic that always makes its mark. From demure to daring, these LBDs are made with stretchable fabric for a universal fit and paired with timeless jewelry so that all Barbie Basics dolls can wear, share, and style in their own iconic ways. Okay, so the dresses are like made out of a stretchy material. I didn't realize that. So they can fit the different body types. Yeah, that's good. I do get quite frustrated if you ever buy a Barbie fashion pack these days. They're always a bit too big and they only fit the curvy dolls, which kind of frustrates me. Obviously, Barbie has a bit of an issue now with the fact that because they've introduced different body types, which is a good thing, it means that not all the clothes fit them perfectly. But it seems like for this line, they've fixed that by putting them all in stretchy material. But it does mean we don't get a variety of different materials. We just get the same stretchy material on all of these dresses. But then again, I feel like these guys all wore the same material. Yeah, it looks like they're wearing the same material. I just think these dresses look better. I also bought this one. I really like her. She's just a really cool doll. Here she is. I mean, I'm not a fan of this like t-shirt dress. It's kind of shapeless, but you know, I think she really pulls it off. And these shoe molds are some of my favorite Barbie shoe molds. They're just like kind of pointy black high-heeled boots, but I just think they're really cool. They've been part of the Barbie line for a long time, but whenever I see a doll wearing these boots, I'm like, I might have to buy her. I love her face mold, and I love her, like, chopped hair. Very cute. The kind of concept for this doll line has stayed the same. It's about play, it's about customizability, it's about creativity, but obviously the execution of that premise is a little bit different. I think it's interesting as well, there's a lot of people online these days which customize their own dolls, you know, on Instagram and on YouTube. So it's interesting that Barbie has kind of created a doll which is quite customizable, like you can swap the heads and stuff like that, which obviously you couldn't do with these dolls. You couldn't swap their heads. Anyway, now I've spoken about their packaging and about the kind of doll concept, I'm gonna open them and we can have a closer look at the dolls. Okay, doll fans, here they are. Looking absolutely stunning. Both of these dolls are really, really nice. Like, don't get me wrong, I think, you know, Mattel really popped off with this line back in 2009 and also in the present day. Here is a side-by-side comparison of their faces, the dresses, the shoes. Here's the hair. Now, obviously, the original Barbie Basics doll uses the model Muse body, which has very limited articulation and it's permanently posed in this kind of sassy model pose. I'm actually kind of surprised that Mattel still uses this body to this day. They do still use this body mold quite often for collector dolls, but it's not very, like, in keeping with their body positivity message. Because she is made of solid plastic, this doll, I do quite like the weight of her, which always, I think, makes them feel just a bit more luxurious. You know, because it's not hollow, it's a complete, like, full piece of plastic. Does that make sense? Now, the modern Barbie Basics doll is on a made-to-move body, which obviously has loads and loads and loads of articulation. They have 2 joints in the knees and in the elbows. You can also twist the arms and, you know, twist the legs. They have a joint in the waist, which I always really appreciate. These dolls have loads and loads of articulation. You can pose them however you want. And I think I prefer that. I personally prefer the made-to-move body mold because I love being able to pose my dolls. And I think, again, in keeping with the theme of the line being about play, adults playing with dolls and being able to pose them and customize them, I think the made-to-move body works a lot better. But I do know that some Barbie fans don't like the made-to-move body on a collector doll because it looks kind of a bit like a cyborg because there are so many joints, whereas a body like this one is a bit more like smooth, looks a bit more realistic. And also a lot of collectors aren't interested in posing their dolls. You know, they just want to leave them on a shelf, maybe leave them in box. But that's not me. I want to get my dolls out. I don't like keeping them in their boxes. So yeah, for me, the first point definitely goes to the 2025 doll. By the way, I forgot to even mention, we're going to do point system to see which doll is the best. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the faces. I think both of these dolls have really beautiful faces. I do really like that in 2009, Mattel was using classic Barbie face molds, like this one. I think this is the Bob Mackie face mold, is it? Yeah, 1991. I think this is the Mackie face mold. This is a classic Barbie face mold. And I really appreciate that. Again, I think it shows an understanding for collectors and what they'll be interested in. The 2009 doll also just has much better eye makeup, much more interesting, much more detail in the face. As you can see, there's just a little bit more detail there. So I think the face mold, for me, it's definitely going to this doll. But I mean, you know, one good thing is this doll doesn't have any pixelation. The modern doll doesn't have any pixelation in the face, which is very good. But then again, obviously, neither does the one from 2009. In terms of hair quality, I definitely think the 2009 doll is the winner for me. The hair quality is just a lot nicer, it's a lot longer, it's kind of shinier. This doll has like almost platinum blonde hair. It is very soft. I do like how it's gone into a little curl here, but I kind of wish it was longer, you know? Give it a bit more drama, give it a bit more volume, make it a bit more opulent and exaggerated, you know? Also, mine has this weird little bit of hair sticking out here, which is kind of annoying. But, you know, the modern doll has earrings, which is quite fun. This doll doesn't have any earrings. She also doesn't even have holes for earrings. So I think that's a point for this doll because she has earrings. Although, to be honest, I think she might look better without the earrings. Now, let's talk about the dresses. I prefer the doll from 2009, personally. I just think this looks a lot more chic. It looks a lot more glamorous. It's done up with some poppers on the back, which is very classic Barbie. This one looks, you know, a little bit ASOS, a little bit Fashion Nova, you know, with the cutouts at the back and the high neck. I don't know, I don't like this one as much, but that's just my personal opinion. Both are pretty similar in quality, to be honest. I want to give a point to the 2009 doll as well because she has painted nails, which I think is really cool. She even has painted toenails. And then talking about the shoes, I really, really hate these strappy boots. I really don't like them. Again, this is just a personal preference. I do not like these. These I really like. They're very simple, but if you are a Barbie fan, you will know that these are very reminiscent of Barbie's original shoes from her very first doll. And I think that was probably intentional, and I love that reference. I think they're just very cool, very simple high heels. So I'm gonna give the point to the 2009 doll again. Both dolls came with a stand. The 2009 doll, it goes like in between her legs, and this one goes around the back. I definitely do prefer stands which go round the back of the doll instead of in between their legs. I just think they tend to have a little bit more stability. They also both came with certificates of authenticity. The 2009 one is printed on like card, and the modern one is just like a bit of paper. The original one definitely feels a lot more luxurious. So there we have it, doll fans. For me, the clear winner is the 2009 doll, because the only reason why I could like this doll more is because of the articulation. But overall, I have to say, even though I prefer the 2009 one, this doll is a worthy successor. I do think Mattel did a good job with these dolls, apart from those wigs. Get rid of the wigs. I do think overall this line is a worthy successor, and I hope that they continue to make more of these dolls and maybe introduce some fashion packs. I think that would be really fun. Sadly, Bill Greening is no longer working at Mattel, but I'm really glad that one of his last lines there was a reference to one of his classic lines, the Barbie Basics line. But just look at our winner. She is stunning. By the way, I paid £100 for this doll, but I wanted to get her for this video, so, you know. Anyway, more importantly, which doll is your favorite? What do you guys think of the 2009 Barbie Basics line, and what do you think of the modern Barbie Basics line? Please let me know in the comments. And as always, if you love dolls as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video if you enjoyed it, check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and consider supporting me on Patreon, where you can watch loads of exclusive videos, or you can watch some more videos on my YouTube channel right now. I will see you real soon, doll fans. Bye! A massive thank you to Siren Kelly, Nikki, Sunny, Bobby and Cheryl, Imani, Tracy, Jico, Patty Heiss, Anna, Jordan, Cynthia, Raina Ray, Petra, Desi, Michael, @dolls_on-the-go, Jasper, Lillian Lish, Michael and Russ, Amber Rodriguez, Natalie, Doreen, Lexi, Jeremy, Shannon, Angelique, Spooky Mama Baker, Vito and Logan, Sophie, Ronnie, and Megan. And thank you to all my other Patreon supporters. Your support means everything.